Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host RJ with my fellow co-host and champion mates, Scott the Gooner, Rob the Red Devil. Good to get the band back together this week, lads. Robbie, I'll go to you first, my man. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Tuesday night, football talk. Looking forward to it. Actually, counting down to the actual season starts now, mate. So I think it's 10 days to go. So on that 10-day countdown, and I'm pumped, mate. Can't wait for it.
Absolutely. And Scott?
Yeah, mate. Look, we obviously did an extra stream over the weekend, and look, for us as a channel, it was really nice. We got some really good numbers on that, so we thank everyone who supported that different time stream. Thank you for your support. It was an amazing game, an amazing stream. But look, there's a whole video unpacking that Chelsea Arsenal game, so we're not going to spend much time on that tonight. I think RJ just wants to forgive and forget.
Very
You
good,
have to
mate.
drop it right at the end.
That's it. Well, you know what we say. It was good times, man. I got the sunnies off now. I reflected deeply on it, and I thought, yeah, it's nice to win the Florida Cup, but like Manchester United and so many others, it's better to win Champions Leagues and things. And so Arsenal should aspire to that. So it was good for that. But in all seriousness, boys, great to be back. It's going to be nice to talk about some of the key transfer updates. Admittedly, it's hit a bit of a plateau at the moment, but you never know in this fast digital age, things could unpack as we speak. But also, we've got some a really good discussion topic tonight about what do you think your manager has learnt about their respective team during preseason? Because this is the time to really get things going. Because if you don't get things going now, you could risk catching up, and that could be all the difference between a Champions League spot, a Premier League, anything. Yep. So it's going to be a really good discussion point. But aside from that, Robbie's FPL team's finally revealed. He's going to show us how it's all done, of course. And then, of course, we've got any questions from the live chat because we'll have a few quick fires to get underway. So, Scott, over to you, my man.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's start by acknowledging some of the champions in the live chat. We've got the FPL Rubber Ducky in here. He shared his team with me as well. So I'm going to drop that after Robbie's just to make Rob's team look worse. We've got our man Marty from Aussie Spur TV. Top bloke. We love Marty. Plenty of time for him. And it's nice to have you back with us live, my man. I know you've been a busy fella. The concierge is here. One of my favorite Chelsea fans. We've got Tom from the United Pubcast here. Tom, welcome. Declared is in the house. Chelsea Database is in the house. And you know, look, the banter is coming from Declared and friends, but you're starting to sound like Liverpool, mate. You're worrying about the past. New ownership, new era, new team. Let's wait and see. But let's jump straight into the transfer rumours because, as you said, it has been a little bit of a plateau. We started all guns blazing. Transfers were coming everywhere. Teams were getting business done early. Spurs just went on a rampage. And it's all really kind of slowed down. On an Arsenal front, we had Edu come out and do an interview with Sky Sports saying that we were interested in Rafinha. He confirmed that, but also said that he had a conversation with Deco early in the window who basically said he wants Barca. So I don't know how Chelsea missed that memo, but look, he did confirm that interest. And at the same time, they're basically just talking about outgoings. I think we see one more addition to the Arsenal team, and my hope is that it's in centre mid. We've got now backup at left back, backup at right back. Our centre back depth is looking okay. So I think for Arsenal, it's just about offloading the likes of Hector Bellerin, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Pepe potentially, but yeah, we'll just have to see. It's going to be more out than in for us. Robbie, it's gone quiet at Manchester United as well.
Yeah, quite enough. There's a couple little things. Like I said, Eric Bayer this morning linked for back with Jose. Jose at Roma wants to take things, so that could be something in the works there. A good link up because he was very good under Jose. I think another one of our younger Alvaro Fernandez, one of our youth products, is going out on loan to the Championship at Preston North End. I've just heard. I think that was released possibly, or it will be officially released soon. Like I said, as we speak at the moment, I think we're going to get a few more chapters of the Ronaldo saga because as we speak, he's just turned up at Carrington with his agent. So I think there'll be a fair few hours of discussing if with Ten Hag there, face to face, and I guess we'll see in the coming days or coming hours what's to come of that. And yeah, look, for me, I have to apologize because I cannot remember his name, but as of this morning, we were linked to a young striker from RB Salzburg, a 19-year-old striker. I don't know nothing about him. Like I said, I can't remember his name. I'm sure someone in the chat might be able to help me out here. But look, it's just I think the boys are starting to look around in case there is a Ronaldo exit. We are starting to look around for an option B. So this guy seems like he's a young fella, like I said, 19 years old, and apparently Ralph Radnick, he was a big fan of him as well. Obviously from the Red Bull group, he knows a bit about him. So yeah, he's just the only one that's kind of floating around at the moment. And then the rest of the usual, the Frankie de Jongs, still sitting on the fence.
He'll be playing centre back the way it is at the moment. And RJ, before we jump to you, just always nice to see a new face. I think it's Heba. Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. Welcome to the channel, mate. Make sure you've subbed and smash that like button as well. RJ, little bit about Teemo Werner you were telling me before the stream.
Yeah, and as I also said, it's not a real surprise because, as you know, the Chelsea front line aren't really firing on all cylinders or any cylinders, and therefore people like Teemo Werner, who, for the record, very good guy, good culturally speaking, and someone that's quite positive around the group of players, and I really like his disciplined attitude, but profile doesn't seem to be quite kicking off. So given his expensive wages, he's definitely one that's on the rumour mill for the way out. And apparently Robbie's team, Juventus, are putting him as a bit of a shortlist. So I'm quite interested to see where that goes. Because he's so expensive wages-wise, I do have my doubts about how many teams can genuinely take him on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a part salary sharing arrangement where whoever takes him affords, even if it's on loan, we subsidize part of it. But as I said the other day, it's always good getting great players coming in to bolster your squad depth, but also improve the overall quality. But equally, it's important, in my mind, to offload those players who are not consistent contributors, not the one player, a blue moon type of player, but those that are not playing consistently, because it also takes away from those that are on the fringes that if you don't give them enough minutes, you're not going to get their development in line. So, yeah, Teemo Werner, Hakim Ziyech as well, another one of those players that's on the way out apparently. It's hard because AC Milan were one of the clubs that are rumoured to be interested, so we'll see where that goes. But for me, it all hangs on Azpilicueta and Alonso as well. They're probably the ones also equally on the way out.
Okay. And the $1 million question, no shade. Say, thank God, mate. I watched it past it. I've looked back at that stream, and boy, oh boy, you're giving Joe Biden vibes, mate. You look like an absolute fool. So I'm glad there are no glasses. Absolutely glad.
I should bring him back just for that comment.
Robbie, what did you think of his look? What did you think of him, mate?
Firstly, let me just say you guys put on a really good show the other day. I actually really enjoyed that. I finished perfect time, and I was eating my Mexican Mad Mex at Narella just before I went to the movies, and you guys finished the stream right in time. But yeah, look, I couldn't work out what it was. I'm like, maybe I won't say what. I thought maybe it had a black eye or something like that, and then I'm like, oh,
nah, if they'd won 4-0, he'd have a black eye.
I told them, mate. I had no complaints. I said I was too upset. I couldn't look Scott in the eye, mate. I had to mask myself. So all a bit of theatre, of course.
Mate. Tell you what, poor theatre at that. Just quickly on some other things in the transfer window. Barcelona, Jules Koundé. Now it's looking like you've still got De Jong, who might be playing centre back for them. God knows. If you were De Jong, right, and Barcelona owed you all this money, but you've sat there and seen Lewandowski, who ain't coming in on a free wage. Who else they brought in? Rafinha.
Like 6 players. They brought in like 6 players. Kessie, Rafinha, Christensen.
I cannot get my head around the fact that there are people out there on social media, and these are probably kids. Like they're probably people who have never earned, saved, or had to spend $1. Pretty much saying he should just go. Like he should just walk away and leave it there. I'm not leaving that much money behind, especially when I'm not all that keen on going. Do you think he should just pack up and go, or do you think, no, you sit your ground, they owe you money, they've clearly got it? RJ, where are you on this?
Yeah, it's a good one because you got to think about it from the long-term perspective of if they want, as a business, as a club, they can make it really difficult for him in terms of, all right, you dig your heels in. We're not going to use you much. We're going to make your prospects of being attractive elsewhere that much more difficult so you can dig your heels in. So you got to think about it from that point of view. Yeah, I want to get paid like the next person, but sometimes is it better to sort of try to arrange a compromise, basically, leave some of it, knowing that you're going to make it back up and some because you're a good enough player to make it somewhere else. Tough situation, just a bit of devil's advocate, but how they are allowed to sign players and not fulfill his wages, mate, it's beyond me. It's beyond me.
Yeah.
But not just that, but like they keep coming out and saying that the players that they've bought, like your Lewandowski's, etc., they can't even be registered yet till they get a certain amount of money. They can't register them to the La Liga. So, like, I don't know. I reckon he's got all the cards in his hands, to be honest. Like, if they say he can say pay up or don't register the players or something, he's the one that, he's the one that's kind of been thrown under the bus saying we're going to use you as the bait to get some money and stuff. But like even United's kind of even trying to help them out. We've upped our $10 million. We upped our price. So out of the 17, you'd think they'd put the 7 and kind of call it, and that's it. But I don't know. I still think there's a lot of bullshit behind this story, man. So I don't know. I just want it over, like I've been saying for the past 3 months.
Mate, it's the world's longest saga. But let's move on because we are a little bit later on in the show going to reveal Robbie's FPL team, and we might take a look at the Rubber Duckies as well. You know it's good because he's got FPL in his name, so you know it's a good one. But I want to ask you boys really simply, and let's be really to the point with this. We've all watched our team play a few preseason games, some of us up close and personal. Mr. Robbie over there. Pretend that you're the gaffer. Pretend that you're the gaffer, and this would be fitting if you were the Man United fan, RJ, because you look like Ten Hag, mate. What have you learned about your team this preseason? And I think for all of our managers, this is a really important question because Ten Hag knew trying to assert a blueprint for success. Thomas Tuchel, new regime, things maybe not looking as rosy. Last season, they were coming off the back of a UCL victory. So a tiny bit of pressure on him. I'm not implying that he'll be sacked, but he would be feeling a bit of pressure. His post-match conference shows that. And Mikel Arteta has been so heavily backed and does divide the fan base at times that now it's at that point where he really needs to achieve something. So, Robbie, let's kick off with you, mate. You've seen your team in the flesh this preseason. What has Ten Hag learnt about his squad?
I think he would be thinking it's thin. That's my opinion on it because our last one he did say, I want some more reinforcements in our attack in our midfield. I think he wants to be backed, but I think he's also with the team he's given everyone a clean slate, and I think it's a trust thing. This team's kind of from the preseason anyway, it looked like a happy unit again compared to the second half of last season when it was just, I think everyone was kind of going their own way. There was leaks coming out of the club. I think it's the unity that is trying to get together. On the footballing point, he's very strict. So I think he's going to weed out, anyone that's any troublemakers or anyone that doesn't listen to him. He's going to be the demanding. He's going to be the master. He's, like I said, on the pitch. I think he's going to be a lot of yelling, a lot of instructions, and I think he's going to be. When he first came into United, he said that this team has quality. They came second the year before. I know it was miles away, but he goes, this team has got the quality. It has got good players, and we've got to get the best out of these players. So obviously, with a few extras in, we've had quite a few out, and we still need more. I think he can definitely work with this team, and I'm expecting a lot of proactive football to come from him this year.
A $1 million question before we swap over to RJ. Is Cristiano Ronaldo in your starting lineup for the first game of the season?
100%.
Or on your bench?
That's the harder question. He won't start no matter what. On the bench, I'm going to say he's going to be on the bench because I think if this could drag out to possibly deadline day if I know the situation. Because he's continuously said, Ten Hag, that he's in his plans and he's not for sale. The club has continued to back that. But like I said, as we speak, they're in a meeting. I'm hoping Ten Hag can sell him the project or sell him another year because I'd like him to be there. I think that I think anyone's crazy not to have Ronaldo in their team. I think he can adjust, and I think Ten Hag can, with his proactive attacking style, mate. I'm just hoping he can be a finisher. And like I said, Anthony Martial has been great this preseason, but consistency is going to be a big keyword for Anthony Martial this year because consistency is not what he has been in the last couple of years. He's had one great season 2 years ago where he hit 20 goals. I think Ronaldo at 37 is consistency and a big clutch game player is what we need as well.
Okay. Well, interesting views. And in the live chat as well, if you want to type what you think your manager has learned, I particularly would love to hear from you, Marty, on what you think Conte's learned about Spurs this preseason. RJ, let's come over to you. There's a couple of comments here I just want to show you before you get started. The Rubber Ducky saying Thomas Tuchel's in trouble and he knows it. The summer's been a saga. And then obviously some comments on our teams as well that we'll get into. And a question for you. What are your thoughts on what we do in attack? And do you think Tuchel's under pressure? So I'm sure you'll address that in your answer. But RJ, what has Thomas Tuchel learned about your team?
Well, consistent with the comments that he's been making and that we've all observed as Chelsea fans or football fans, the problems of old remain. You got a couple of new players. Raheem Sterling's had a game, started a couple of halves. Koulibaly's looked good since coming in to help replace Rudiger. He's been a positive sign. But the general theme about us being able to convert possession into goals is a legitimate problem that we have yet to resolve. So I think it's not about learning anything. It's about reinforcing existing problems. I think he's probably learning also that he does need more reinforcements to come in because he can't just rely on those players he does have. But I think also he's learning that he hasn't quite found the right solution in a couple of areas of the pitch. It's not just the forwards, it's also the midfield area.
Yep.
And some of that, as you know, we spoke about the other day, is that it doesn't help when you haven't got your full squad available. Obviously, Kante's one player, Loftus-Cheek's another option that's been playing regularly in midfield. So, yeah, they're an underdone team at the moment. And like he said, I don't know if they will be ready at the start of preseason. So I think that's what we've learned. In terms of the question from my friend Heba, and as well, we got from FPL the comments around Tuchel and job insecurity and pressure. They're a new ownership. They've backed him. But equally at the same time, everybody at the club is under the spotlight. They've come fresh. They want success. They are part of winning franchises. And even though they've supported Tuchel so far with some of the players they've brought in, if he doesn't start turning things around this season, bridge the gap, absolutely he'll be under the spotlight. I think the attack's one thing, but more generally speaking, results. This is a results-driven business, and he's not immune from that pressure. So, yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask you, though, you say they've backed him. Have they backed him? I mean,
two big signings so far.
They're big signings, but the season before, you dropped nearly 100 mil on Lukaku, 45 mil on Sterling, wasn't it? Was it around that ballpark figure? And Koulibaly, is that backed, though? He seems to want more. They still haven't given him a striker. Like to send your coach into a season without a striker, unless you're Pep Guardiola and Man City, it's for me, it's suicidal. But I don't know if I think he's been properly backed. Maybe in my head, I'm still thinking of the old Chelsea, the financial juggernauts where Roman didn't care and would splash that cash. Maybe this is a new era. I don't know.
I'm expecting Chelsea to still splash, to be honest. I think they'll splurge. I think there's a month left of the window. I think, especially after that press conference from Tommy Tuchel, that's definitely, a bit of flex on the board saying, I need more. Like he pretty much said that, it's not just I need more, but it's the players that goes that he's worried about that don't want to be there or possibly want to go out. Like he said, Aspilicueta's possibly your Alonso. So I don't know. I think that Chelsea, especially a lot of people could be a little bit knee jerky on the board after that result, or after a few of the results. Again, preseason results, but you can see sometimes knee jerk reactions. Okay, let's try and fix this problem up. You know what I mean?
We've seen it with Conte, didn't we? I mean, he spat the dummy early into his tenure at Spurs, and look at how they backed him. After that, I think sometimes it can work. And I mean, he was unimpressed in his post-match comments from that Arsenal match. He was not a happy man. And I don't buy this crap that it's pre-season. That he was upset. So hopefully,
of course, he's upset, but it's a dual thing though. He's been backed to the extent that the club is also starting behind because they're in sanctions, so they weren't able to pursue everyone like everybody else. So they've got rid of Marina, so they've got no director of football. This Todd Bowley's come in and tried to bring in a fresh set of eyes until we get a new director. So we're really behind the 8 ball. But like I'm saying, he's been back to the point. Two quality players have been brought in so far. Obviously, my sentiments would change if we got to the end of the window and they were the only 2 players, considering we've lost more than that already. But as it stands, he has been backed. But equally, his comments after the game were there were players that were picked that looked like they had other clubs or other futures on their mind. But if you're trying to be a little bit fair in your assessment, it's like, well, you've picked these players. So you didn't have to pick some of these players. You could have given other people an opportunity to impress. You could have picked players in their natural positions. You didn't have to play Conor Gallagher in a pivot. You could have played him higher up the pitch. So you couldn't have used Malang Sarr. You could have used Ben Chilwell more. So there's a number of things he could have done differently. So he's right to criticize to an extent, but he's also needs to receive a bit of criticism that he makes the decisions too, and he's got to wear that.
Fair shout. All right. Looking at Marty shared his thoughts in the chat saying that Conte would be a happy bloke. Number of outgoings happening and maybe another couple coming in before the window close. And Marty's saying he'd like a centre back and a right wing back. Didn't you just signed Spence? I'd assume Spence will play at right back and he'll do a job. I think that's a good signing. And a couple of other bits of Spurs news coming in the live chat. That Borche from the Football Capital saying the Spurs have an agreement with Yaya Toure to become an academy coach, as well as Defoe. So a couple of good experienced players for your youth to learn from. In terms of my team, the Arsenal, we've had, in terms of a pre-season and keeping it all in perspective, we've probably had as good a pre-season as you could ask for. We've built fitness. We've been relatively injury-free. And Mikel Arteta has been able to see some different combinations. What do I think he's learned? I think he's learned that we can survive without Kieran Tierney and Tomiyasu, who last season, those guys were so vital for us. And when they weren't there, almost similarly to Chelsea with James and Chilwell, when they weren't there, you just didn't look the same team. Now with Zinchenko coming in, he's someone very capable of playing on the left and doing an excellent job. And Saliba looking so good, Ben White could be pushed out to the right. So I think he's learned that we can survive without those players, and the fan base has learned that too. I think he's learned that having friends in high places can really pay off, because we've got some great value from Manchester City and Pep Guardiola in Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. He's looked sensational. And I think, as I spoke about in depth in the Chelsea post-match video, the key to any success that Arsenal could potentially have has to be built on the back of an aggressive, fast press. That's got to be our game. That's got to be our identity, because we've got the youth, we've got the legs, we've got the speed to really make teams uncomfortable. And I think that's what Arsenal need to be doing this season, playing without fear and playing other teams into silly mistakes. That's what I think Mikel's learned. The biggest concern for me is centre midfield depth, because one injury to Thomas Partey, and looking at his record, he's prone to injuries, and we're in big trouble, because that position is probably the one where we don't have depth. I know Zinchenko can play in the middle, but he's not my first choice to play in that middle. I would still like to see a Yuri Tielemans come in. Basuma would have been perfect, but we missed the boat on that. But I think we need to strengthen the middle of the park as well. Question from George. Will Spurs be the highest placed team in London come May? George, you're going to have to wait till our Premier League preview show, which will be coming up because we're getting close to the season where we'll do all our predictions. But I hope not. Let's just say I hope not.
I second
Boys,
that.
you don't want
by
to
the
answer
way.
this yet, do you?
No, but I just want to say on you make some good points about Arsenal. I think as a general theme for all managers is that whether or not they're going good or whether or not they're going like Chelsea, everybody's going to be mindful that it's preseason still. So even though you're going so good, managers won't want to say, we don't want to over celebrate it. And the same thing, if you're going bad, you don't want to say it's all doom and gloom. So I think a lot of those managers will always keep that in the back of their mind because it's easy to get carried away because that's all we've seen. How else can you judge anything else? But because it's not a fair reflection of reality, it's important to sort of keep things nice and balanced. But all of your points made sense.
All right. Well, something I'm about to show you that may or may not make sense is Robbie's FPL team. Robbie, I'm going to put it up. You know the drill. You've seen myself and RJ do this. You just talk us through some of your decisions. We're not going to interrupt you. The floor is yours, boss. Talk to us about this team. Do you want me to zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, zoom in. I'll just bring up on my phone in case. Yeah, sweet. Beautiful.
There you go. And I'll work my way down. Talk to us about the back.
All right, well, this is my, like I said, another draft. I dare say this will change again because, just from watching preseason games on the weekend, this changed numerous times while I was watching the games. So, but yeah, I always like a good goalkeeper, but never too crazy with expense. So Mendy at the moment looks good. I'm hoping that after that 4-0 that they do address their defense because clean sheet should be good for Chelsea normally. Again, I like the attacking fullbacks, which is a very popular thing in the last few years. So I've got obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's one of the most owned and probably the most highest paid. So you got to have him. You can't miss out. Reece James, Cancelo is a lock. And I've thrown in Dallo. Here's one that I've just thrown in recently. I've changed a few times. I've changed in one of my attacking fullbacks, but I've gone Dallo for price 4.5, 4.5. So to free up some money, and for me, he's nearly the first name on a United sheet, and I think definitely for the first two games, it's a good shout. We've got obviously Brighton at home and Brentford away. Oh, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I think there's definitely a possibility of a clean sheet in at least one of those games. And the way with Ten Hag's system, with finally getting some attacking fullbacks with crosses and stuff, I think he's a good shout. Salah is a no-brainer. He's been one of the most consistent FPL players for the past 5 years. And again, I think he's got some crazy stat for the start of the season. Like the first game every start of the season, he's got like 1 or 2 goals, or he's always got a good return. Luis Diaz, again, Liverpool, I think they've got some good fixtures as well. I've put him in there at the moment. 8 million is not too bad. Again, that could be something that could change. Rashford, 6.5 million. I talked about this last week. I think good value for someone who's going to start in the front three. Neto, again, someone who goes under the radar, but 5.5, I think is definitely, again, for someone that's cheap that starts in the midfield. Jesus, again, I think everyone in the game's got nearly this front two. Last week I said I didn't have Haaland, so this literally changed after the first 12 minutes in that preseason friendly on the weekend. I changed it a few times. I had Harry Kane because of his preseason form. He's got on the board quite a few times, and I wasn't sure at that time and if Haaland was even going to get a start for game one. So obviously he came on against Bayern, got a quick goal. I dare say he starts this weekend in the Charity Shield, so obviously I'll see how it goes in that. And obviously we've got to another 10 days to cement that in, but I don't know. At the moment, I'm going to put him there because everyone else does, and I'm not going to go through all of my bench, but for me, important on the bench is to always have players that play. So even if they're low, try not to put just a random guy in at 4 million if he's not going to ever play, because if you ever do need rotation, it's always good. And like I said, your Neco Williams from Nottingham Forest, he's going to play. Dean Henderson is actually someone that I could actually swap him out if I want to. If I need an extra 0.5 million, I could throw him in as a starter and put someone else like I think another cheap goalkeeper, maybe Mesler from Leeds. I could swap him in, but definitely Henderson will stay there because sometimes it's not just clean sheets that get you the points. It's actually how many stops I make. And when they're busy for these promoted teams, I think it's every 5 saves you get an extra point too. So A lot of saves is a lot of good stuff because he had a cracker season when he was at Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago. Andreas, preseason pillar, we've only offloaded him to Fulham. He'll start. Again, I don't think he's going to come off the bench, but he's a starter. And young Greenwood from Leeds. So I think at the moment, yeah.
A couple of things have come in the chat. I don't know if you've seen them, but you've been
haven't.
called a fraud.
Yeah.
Having 3 Liverpool players. You have been given the... Go on.
Head, not heart, mate. That's the thing. That's why I won the tipping comp last year. You always got to go head, not heart. If I was to go head, if I was to go to heart, I would have had Sancho, probably would have had Ronaldo or Martial up front. Look, mate, United, for instance, we don't know how to break. We got a lot to prove if we can even break down a low block, which we've had trouble with.
Rob. You guys are garbage, mate.
I love Ten Hag, but I'm not expecting him to turn water into wine in the first week.
You have been given a score of 6. I think it's 6, 2, 4. Yep, 6 rubber duckies. That's the highest score any of us have got. I can't remember. I think RJ got 0, and I don't even know. I didn't even get a score.
I'll take that.
No, I got 2, I think. So
you got 2. I think I got 0.
I'm not sure how that was all calculated, but no Spurs players. There's also another comment that was made.
No disrespect. I did have 2 Spurs players in there. I had. Sorry,
Kane.
I had Kane. Obviously, they said that was just a knee-jerk decision on the weekend after Haaland scored. But one of my first players I had in my first one was Perisic, and I just think Perisic was in there. But I said I've swapped him out for that whole $1 million cheaper for Dallo, who, like I said, will definitely start. And the same thing, possibility of a clean sheet. I just want to see how Perisic goes in his first 1 or 2 games. Like, I'm not expecting it to be some crazy high scores. So if it's a clean sheet, bonus. If not, I'm willing to take it for Dallo on $1 million cheaper.
Fair shout here. And we've just a couple of George's little tips here. White or Saliba at 4.5 mil, good value.
White was also another one I had in my team.
We just got to see who starts. I don't know who starts. So
I messaged you on the weekend to see if he starts. But we've obviously Saliba there. I don't know what his position will be.
George is taking Perisic as well. You know what's funny? You know how you said, Robbie, everyone's got Haaland? I've removed Haaland from my team.
So we've done the opposite. Last week I did know you have. See, it's hard.
This is my guy. This is my guy now. I've gone Nunez.
I hope this is not knee-jerking off those 4 goals he scored the other day.
It absolutely is knee-jerking, but putting him in meant that I had a whole bunch more money to strengthen the rest of my team. So I'm hoping it pays off. But it's not about me. It's about you right now. I am quickly going to put up the FPL Rubber Duckies team. He has very, some may say harshly, like myself and RJ, critiqued our teams. Let's have a real quick look at his and go from there. He's got Alisson in goals, very strong keeper. He's gone with Cancelo, Alexander Arnold, Botman, and White. What do you think of Botman? To me, I still think Newcastle. I've been so underwhelmed by Newcastle because I expected so much. I expected so many signings. I expected some bigger names, and they've not done a whole heap. I still think they're going to concede goals. I don't know if I'd be taking Botman. RJ, have you got any advice for the Ducky based on what you can see?
No, just perhaps he thinks that they're going to be strong collectively because under Eddie Howe they've been going pretty good. So, yeah, individually speaking, he's a decent player. So
well, show us the rest of his team. We might see why he's had to go a bit cheaper at the back.
Exactly, it's balance.
Well, there
strong
you go.
Attack.
Yeah, okay,
he's running Erdegaard, who I think is a really good shout because he's been amongst the goals and assists.
How much is Erdegaard?
I think he's about 6 or 6.5 mil. He's got Kulusevski in the middle, Luis Diaz, De Bruyne. I looked at De Bruyne as well, but I just worry about his minutes. Like,
not his minutes. I think you'll get all his minutes. It's just for me, I can't afford him. He used to be the first team name on my team sheet for FPL for the last years and years and years. But at 12 million, I think he is now. I just think that they spread the goals out amongst those teams a lot, man. Like, there's a lot of assisting from everyone, a lot of goal scoring from everyone. I like Mahrez. I think he's with a shout. I think he's on penalties as well. But again, it's just, I like to call it pep roulette, mate. You can never know what's going to happen with him.
And look, I mean, you can see Jesus and Kane up front. That's strong. And he is pointing out the City will only play one game a week for about 5 weeks. So that would help them as well. But it's a strong team overall. I mean, we're not experts. I know that the Ducky takes this pretty seriously, so I'm sure it'll be a formidable team. And looking forward to seeing how he goes in our comp. But yeah, there aren't really any weaknesses or scraping the barrel players in there. So I think it's a good team.
Yeah,
Borcher's given him 2 Duckies. I'm going to be more generous than you were to me. I'm going to give you 5 Duckies at the moment. Boys, it's been really fun talking some FPL, and I can't wait for that to kick off. If you have not already, check the description of the video because we've got the code and a link in there. I don't know if the link was working for everyone, but the code is in the description. So join in. It's always fun. We like to show the ladder in our streams and give people a little bit of a plug. So jump in and join the comp as well. But we've got to the pointy end of the show, boys. We've got to the quickfire questions. I am going to hold my hands up and confess that I have nothing this week. I was really good last week, but I've got nothing. So I'm hoping you boys have done your job because I have not. Robbie?
Yeah, I have. I've been good.
Good man.
I've gone for a bit of a TV movie theme tonight. So I'll go the Italian Job or Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Italian Job for me.
You
Power
Rangers.
Rangers.
It's got Italian in the title.
Well, that's of course. But no, I actually think it's a top movie. I do love it. Power Rangers versus Ninja Turtles.
The show or the movie?
Movies. I'll go movies.
Oh, movie? I'm still going
Power Rangers for me.
Yeah, I agree. We'll go the triple. Pokemon versus Digimon.
Movies or show?
Nah, this is just in general. Like which one you like? We'll go show. We'll go show.
Show Pokemon. Movies Digimon.
Yeah. The game itself?
Pokemon. Can't go
Digimon's
past.
pretty cool, man. I remember getting one of those old markets. You know, you could go to the markets and get the PlayStation games.
Fairfield markets.
Yeah, well, perhaps, maybe not. But yeah, it was an awesome game.
I'm going to go Digimon, something different. I did enjoy them. Jason Bourne versus James Bond.
Jason
Jack
Bourne.
Bauer.
Yeah, Jack Bauer.
I'll go Jason Bourne.
Borgie?
Bourne.
Bourne? Yeah, all right, we'll go triple on that too. And last one, Pirates of the Caribbean or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings every day.
Yeah, same, 100%.
Yeah.
That's mine, boys.
Well done. Tell
You got
me,
nothing.
I've got something. No, tell me, because I had it tonight, a snack that you like, but you haven't had in a long, long time.
Ooh.
Have a think.
I'll go, can it be a treat? Doesn't have to be a snack, same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
a treat. Yeah, treat. That's fine.
I normally love my toffee apples, mate.
Oh, mate. You look
You're
like
such a
me
connoisseur.
after this morning.
It has
And
to
it's
be green one
green.
too. I won't eat the red ones. Has to be a green one.
Fancy. For me, you look pretty simple, and I don't know why I haven't had it in a long time. Probably the old Doritos and some salsa, man. I just straight up haven't had that in ages. So I'm going to make that happen this weekend.
You strike me as a salsa guy.
Can't
I had
go
a
past the Zinis.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I had a randomly, like I said, because my wife got it just for the family or whatever. Fresh, hot cinnamon donuts. So good. I haven't had them in years. You know what I mean? Just one of those good, fresh.
Yeah,
and
always
hot. So
hit
good.
up the KKs, man. So yeah, no, that's a good shout. That one.
There you go. Got another one?
Yeah. No, it was just that. Was it? That was struck me on my mind.
All right. Well, on that note, it is Tuesday evening. We've done our normal stream. We are going to leave you at this point, but thank you for your participation in the comments. Type down, let us know what your manager has learnt about your team, and let us know what you think about Rob's FPL team, as well as the Duckies as well. We will be back on Thursday evening at 8:30 p.m. as we edge ever closer to the launch of the Premier League season. I can't wait, boys. I absolutely cannot wait. Robbie, any closing words?
Yeah, look, guys, make sure you join the FPL. A bit of fun through the season. consistency is key. I always say. Last year I wasn't the greatest myself, but I will knuckle down this year, and look forward to seeing everyone on Thursday night again.
RJ?
Always a pleasure, guys. Can't wait for Thursday. Bring it on.
That's it.
Take care. Look after yourselves. See you later, everyone.
Ciao.